going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And tonight, listen to me, and tonight we have a super duper special, super duper legend in the building. Listen, this was the first female artist, not even female artist, first female rap artist to sign a major record deal from the US. We're talking about 35 years ago. There would be no Drake, no Justin Bieber, no Weeknd if it was not for this lady here. You know who we have in the building today? We have MICHIE MEE in the building today. What's going on, my sister?
Hey, what's up, brother? It's so nice to be here.
Thank you for coming
so proud
through.
Of you.
I'm proud of me.
Yes.
We'll get to me when we're done with you. Thank you so very much for coming through.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We've been trying to do this now for about close to 2 years. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're here now.
Yes.
Good to go. Let's take it right to the beginning because I like to get in depth with who I'm speaking to, okay?
Okay.
Where were you born first? And then when did you move to Canada?
I was born in Jamaica, in Kingston.
Okay.
I used to live on Mona Road, went to a little private school, and then flew up here in 1976.
76. How old were you when you left Jamaica?
I was 5. I was
You were
going to be
5.
6 that year in the summer, so I'm November born. And so I was 5.
Okay, so you don't really have any memories of Jamaica per se like that?
Oh, no, but I always went back. Still do.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
but from schooling between grade 5 and high school, no, that's all Toronto.
That's all Toronto. All right.
All Weston.
Okay, and when were you introduced to music? When was the first time you heard something and say, hey, I like that?
Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight.
Yes. Mother brought home a record on a trip to Boston. And it was like this American record, and Rapper's Delight was that record that said, like, oh, wait a minute, they're telling a different story. This is not disco.
Yeah.
And that was a main thing that I remember. And Rapper's Delight just took over. And it seemed to be, now in hindsight, it was like the most commercial thing there.
Mm-hmm. Rapper's Delight. I get it because remember, that was a song that was big. That was like one of the intros to actually hip hop at that time there.
Yeah,
you know
really, it traveled a lot. It was one of the most, popular. They were a little pop, hip-hop song at the time. If you look at it that way, it was the most tracked record and put together.
And that was the song that actually planted the seed in your mind. Say, hey, I like this new sound that's not disco.
Yes, that there was something new coming. And it had a little more oomph than funk. Yeah. Because funk was around.
Yeah.
So it had more the poetic side of it. Mm-hmm. So when it was hip hop, it was introduced as hip hop.
Yeah. And at that time there, do you know if there was any other female rappers around at that time that you could actually point out?
Worldwide?
Yeah, just somebody else that you were listening to.
Oh, absolutely. Us girls from Beat Street.
Okay.
We got taken at Martha Way. Jeffrey Roberts gathered up all the kids from the rec center and took us down to see Beat Street when he came here. So that was an introduction to seeing, wow, there's 3 girls on the mic, which ended up being Debbie Deb and, and Shyrock. And, so that was the first time I seen women do it. And they had a routine to it, so it was very Sister Sledge. And I liked funk. Mm-hmm. So, everybody was a Diana Ross fan. Upside down to Us Girls.
The Us Girls. All right. I forgot about the Us Girls until you said it. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that planted the seed again now.
From the Beat Street movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you actually remember your first rap that you actually wrote before you actually got into the business?
There was one that I made a song. My first song I wrote was I'm Not Afraid.
Okay.
And that was produced by Carl Harvey. And we found a little studio down in Oakwood. And went and recorded that. Yeah. So that was my first song when I was like verse 1, verse 2, and there was no bars. So I think my first verse was probably 36 bars. And the second verse was just hip hop. You just told the story. When the story finished, that was the end of that verse. And you went into whatever the hook was. Mm-hmm. So I'm Not Afraid was the first one. But writing little raps came from grade 8 and grade 7 poetry. You just sped it up. Yeah,
from there. Amazing. And I know originally you were a battle rapper also. All right. How did that start out?
Wow. It was a way to be introduced into the male part of the business. Because that's where, the really gifted fellas in hip hop, they wanted to battle. So to introduce myself as a woman, I wanted to be part of the battle, frontier.
Yeah.
And here we were coming up all these little hip hop competitions, and Laverne and I over at Martha Eaton Way decided to just sit down and just curse out all the American girls that we could find that were rapping, because we weren't sure who was going to come and battle me in the what ended up being the battle at the concert hall. So, and then when we found out her name and we couldn't find out anything, there was no information about anybody. So you just had to kind of think what would be generic and rude and feisty and still improvise a culture, because the main line was I went to the Jamaican to try to, because I was like, she's not going to say that no matter where she's from. So, and that was still new and refreshing. So, and I was very aware of our West Indian culture here. Yeah.
That makes sense, because especially growing up in Canada back then, you're whatever background you are first, then Canadian.
Absolutely.
You're Jamaican, then Canadian. You're Guyanese, then Canadian. Bayesian, then Canadian. That's how it was back then, growing up. So you always remembered listening to like a Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown, a Shabba Ranks, or whoever was playing at that time there. So you remember hearing them.
And then you go back to your country and you're the Canadian.
Yeah. The foreigner. Look, the foreigner came down.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I talk like, no, can you? Just talking funny.
Yeah. Buddy, I was just here.
So
crazy.
Just own it. Okay. All my A's come out.
Okay, so then the competition here, so then you guys went, who did you actually end up battling that night there?
Sugar Love.
Yeah,
she came with Cutmaster DC, representing Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And
how did that turn out?
I won, thank God. Toronto's very behind me, and they didn't know me either. So only around the way, everybody that knew everybody that would rhyme, in the parks and wherever. But parks meaning rec centers. No one really knew me. So that was my introduction to everybody from different areas, meeting downtown.
Downtown was the meeting spot. Everybody, east, west, north, south, downtown.
Big Slice, Toonie Tuesday.
Yes.
And before, I'm calling it Toonie Tuesday, $2 Tuesday.
Yeah.
Before the Toonie.
You get it.
And it was just downtown was where you'd meet at. I went to Jarvis Street Baptist Church, so I already knew some of the people from church that were into music. So when I would see them again, all of us in the hip hop scene, at the events at the party centers, and that was when we were all like, oh, we're big, don't tell, you won't tell, I won't tell. Yeah, and we were all children, literally children.
Sneaking out of the house to go. I remember.
Everybody has a sneaking story.
Nobody was really living downtown per se. Everybody was either east or west. So to remember, to get downtown and then to get back to wherever you are.
And in the house. And in the house quietly.
Yeah.
And I think they knew.
Yeah.
All parents knew.
As long as you didn't get into any crazy trouble, I think they just left it alone from there.
Yes. And they had to work. A lot of working parents back then, so and still now. So they had to work. So and as long as no one was getting in trouble. Yeah,
makes sense. Okay, now so you say now you become a part of this budgeting hip hop scene in Toronto.
Yes.
Okay, who all was there at that time there?
Oh, wow. There was a whole scene. You didn't really know everybody until you met downtown. So I'm sure every area has their own little history and we weren't aware of it. And remember, I was still one of the youngest. No one knew how young I was, though, compared to the ones that were, in the scene before. I was still little Mishi. So there was K Forest. Yes. There was Everybody in Sunshine. Brother D was considered an MC. Everything that came with Sunshine, everything that came with roller skating, because the music and the funk and everybody gathered at roller skating. I grew up on Lawrence, so I'm a part of that Amesbury roller skating community. And then in moving, then there was a terrace, and then there was so many others. So roller skating was one of the first meeting spots. So the DJs that went out there and played, you would go there. So, there was a lot of people on the scene, but to name them all, not right now. In the book.
Okay, fair enough. I got you. And was anybody actually recording at that time there that you're aware of?
Not recording. Yeah. And if they were, that's the part that we don't know, right? Yeah. But no, not recording, not putting out records.
Okay.
Yeah, so... And that's where it comes in, where we were I was the first artist signed to a record, because there was no industry here. So I'm sure there was hip hop prior to me here, but we're all a part of the scene, and you didn't know about anybody, even if anybody wants to predate MICHIE MEE. We really didn't know about each other. And what I stand for is when the industry started here. So this is when we went from a pro-can to a SoCan. So in being nominated for Juno, Red Hot Chili Peppers won. And then there was a hip hop category, and Maestro won. So there was stages to even get the genre. So I was just the first artist to represent the music and the infrastructure when it was starting. So
that makes total sense. That's why I was trying to get the backstory, as in, okay. They always credit you, say, you're the first one to get the deal and all of that stuff there. So I wanted to know who else was really around. So then now we basically...
Butch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
people heavy on the scene.
Yeah.
Lady P. I'm not going to forget the females. Because they were like behind Powerhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, there was just so many crews and so many pockets of hip-hop. But no one had Mischievous C, Fly K, then D-Shan. There were so many that we just all, at some point, just met downtown. Because I'm sure everybody was doing it in their own, coming from church, coming from school, coming from the babysitter, coming from roller skating, coming from playing floor hockey. Whatever when we met downtown is when we got to tell each other stories.
Makes sense.
And we're introduced to each other.
So from the battle now, you won the battle. What was the next step for Mishi there?
Convincing the industry here, and we're still doing it, that there was going to be an urban artist from here. That hip hop was in Canada. It wasn't going to go out like disco. It wasn't a genre. It was different than jazz. Yes, there was black people doing it, but it was different and it was new. And getting people to believe in it, but still listening to the American way of doing it, because hip-hop had an accent. So even if you're from Canada, we were rapping with accents. We're all from New York. So that's a part of that. What's your number? Where you from? The brothers kept it in the street, though. We ladies had it on the stage. They kept it for Caravan. And, whether you live in Buffalo, like you were from New York. So that hip-hop had an accent. So we wanted to prove that whole way of doing music made sense here. And no one believed that there were ghettos here. No one believed that there was any low income. No one believed that there was something that we can contribute to telling those stories when they knew hip-hop was from the streets.
Makes total sense. So then now, what came first? You meeting LA Love or you going to the States?
Oh, no, me working. I was doing hip-hop regardless. When I came back to sign with Beat Factory and do the whole business aspect of it. In terms of the Bronx, my family is very diluted in the Bronx, so they're very much into the scene. I would go up to Stardust, and Stardust had everybody, like the old heads right now, that were there, but we didn't know they were pioneers at the time, and they were performing, so everybody wanted to be a part of that. And again, I was lying about my age. And with my older cousins, everybody hangs with my older cousins, so my scene and my environment was there. So I was a part of the hip-hop scene there and here. And then came back here and it just could, mom's at work, I'm out. I was like, I'm not staying home. I know too much. In New York, they do this. In New York. And then I was selling jingles and gazelles and suits and MCM purses. I was a hustler. I was on the 32C selling cassette tapes, trying to get girls to give me their Girl Guide money, using mine, all kind of crazy, but just whatever could bring us together. That's how the music was bringing us together, and the whole hip-hop culture. Not everybody was rapping. Some people were dancing. Some people were just into haircuts. Some people were just into graffiti. So it wasn't just so focused on the MC. So it was just everyone proving all these elements of hip-hop and proving that there was a genre. There was an element to disco. There was an element to jazz. So how do we tell our parents that we're dancing on the floor, we're doing windmills, it's not safe, boys and girls do it. It was a whole new world of hip-hop. And then it was like, hey, here in Canada. So it was a big thing to prove.
And you were happy to be a part of it at that time. They're just something new, fresh, and exciting, where you feel like you discovered something. Like, hey, look, I discovered something. And you bring to them, all right, so when you went to the States now, how early did you meet Boogie Down Productions, which would be Scott LaRock and KRS-One? How early did you meet them in their career?
That was one of the people that I met, like, hanging out in Latin quarters, and they were from the Bronx, and a lot of Bronx people, the whole hip-hop circle, when the Bronx came down in the Latin quarters, it was like everybody going back to the Bronx, traveled back together. So I met Scott LaRock and KRS-One. He was like, Chris, come over here. And they were she said she raps, she's from Canada. Yeah. And that was it. And everybody was there. There was, the whole pre-golden era, including R&B. Bobby Brown was there. So he was like one big scene. Ernie, who took all the pictures, so he would catch me on the street, and Zulu Nation would protect me and make sure I'd be on the street street with too many chains, but I'm from Canada, ignorant, straight dancehall. And he just threw the Zulu Nation over me to make sure don't rob her. She's from Canada, and she's with our brothers and brother, and so it was very protective of the artists then. So once they knew, and they knew once I started rapping, oh my God, she's here because of hip hop. So they were very protective of the women in the streets at that time, at that young age. They knew and then she's from Canada, and it's Manhattan, and that was like where everybody met from wherever you're from as a tourist. And then hip hop was the hottest thing, and Latin Quarters was the club, and
that was another downtown. That was their version of downtown Manhattan.
Yes.
We have downtown Toronto. They have Manhattan. Okay, so when you met Boogie Down Production now, did they have any recordings out as yet, or they were just more or less freestyling?
Freestyling and had recordings. Everybody had recordings out. They had cassette tapes. So they were working with Bill Blass, and they were running the Bronx and putting their stuff together. So that's how I knew who they were. And they were being introduced at the same time, but I still knew who they were because everybody knew who they were. And I was like, yo, that's my crew. So they're the Bronx. Follow them because they're going to take that train home.
Yeah.
So, so it was... I was very involved with them, and then they wanted to come to Canada. And I was like, yeah, we got to come to Canada. And then I introduced them to everybody and picked them up. Our promoter brought them here, and it was like, who's paying for you to come here? Somebody booked us. Mishi, is he good? I'm like, da-da-da. So I picked them up at the airport and then stayed with them. We went and brought West Indian food, said we cooked it, and brought the West Indian food. And then the next day we had to cook. So it was an experience. We were just trying to say, Canada is this, and all the accent stuff. We were trying to prove it in the food. Don't eat the fast food. Come, we're going to bring you to West Indian. So and picked them up at the airport, and they went on and did their show. Ended up introducing me on stage, and so it was a mixture of the scene, and everybody was already involved in doing music.
At that time there, because this is what I want to know, did they have the bridges over when you met them yet?
In terms of timing and hindsight, it's hard to say. I think so. I think so, because I knew that it was more South Bronx was a song that we gravitated to. But on that mixtape, there was so much. Like, who knows if Bridges Over was on that tape? It's one of those things. Like, I can look back on it so much. You know what I mean? Like, those were the songs that were juggling at the time in terms of date. Caravan and New Year's, I don't know.
The reason why I was asking for Bridges Over is because, remember, Bridges Over is at hip-hop and reggae feel, At that time there, we didn't realize that it was.
Yes.
But it was. That's why I'm trying to figure if you...
No, they knew. No, man, Shinehead already did all their stuff. Dancehall was it, and they knew I was coming from, because I would sneak out from First Friday and go Biltmore. Yeah. So I was living dancehall because that was what I knew. I worked in hip hop, so they knew, because when they met, it was like the scene gravitating, because it was already together over there anyways, right? So when I fully believe, because you can't deny it in the Bronx. Yeah, like reggae was there. I do think that whole, that's where Stahoma hurt. You know what I mean? It's undeniable, a part of it. But I do really think the pinch of it, Heavy D knew and Shinehead knew in terms of putting it together. But everybody had tape. We didn't know about their tapes then too. Yeah, so it's a... And
you had met Heavy D and Shinehead back then also.
Yes. And it's not like they knew who I was. It wasn't like, hi, I'm MICHIE MEE. And Heavy, yes. Shinehead, no. When he came here and was at the Copa, and we were like straight fans. And then I emulated the dub plate for High Tech. High Tech, Madem was from Shinehead's release on his album. So I was a straight Shinehead fan. And he knew my cousins, the Bronx, and everybody. So you just that want to get on. I'm from Canada. What up, cousins? Those are my cousins' friends. And then it's like, hey, isn't that Shinehead? Kind of like that. From a distance, he wouldn't even know I was in the background.
And your first label here, First Priority Records, okay? How did that deal even come around?
That's the first major deal. My first deal prior to that was Elements of Style with Tim Westwood in England. So Tim Westwood, we had underground radio. We're the Commonwealth, okay? We're Jamaica, Westwood, Canada, and England.
Still the same Tim Westwood you're talking about here.
Elements of Style was Tim Westwood, and then he became Tim. I know, this is what I'm saying. Everything was. Hi, Tim.
What? No clue. So, let's go to England and then go back to First Priority Records. How did you even connect with people in England? Because remember, at this time, there's no internet.
Yeah, there was Underground Radio and Bricks in Jamaica. Ivan Berry was a good combination. Yeah.
Tim Westwood.
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then you're saying your second record deal now, with which this is now major
The
because
album.
it's first
This is
bird.
the album. Warner Brothers, Atlantic, Sylvia Rhone. Signed. Me.
Sylvia, her name always comes up whenever it comes to anybody that's doing a lot of hip hop, hip hop reggae mix. Her name always seems to come up in the mix some way, somehow.
She was the inspiration then. Like, even for me, seeing, being a young lady, seeing a young black woman in a label, able to translate Jamaican Funk, Canadian style. And she was here at the video shoot. Yes. Yeah. And they were like, more music, Mishi, more music. And I'm like, okay. So she's, she was always that. And she believed. She believed early in the entire scene. So everything makes sense to me. Every time I hear her name, I'm like,
it makes sense.
I'm going to tell my story one day. Yeah.
What was that first meeting like, especially you being Canadian, them seeing that, okay, you're doing reggae and this hip hop thing. What was that initial meeting like?
Oh, they didn't know, in terms of the label meeting, me and the genre, and didn't know what to do, because here they are with MC Lyte, En Vogue, and MICHIE MEE, all on Atlantic, Warner Brothers. The infrastructure is not solid enough to be like, oh my God, it's a lot of black girls all at one time. I don't know. And that's how it felt to me. Maybe inside it was totally different, but there was a lot going on. And it's like shutting down the label here for Celine Dion when she started selling. It was like once we got a release date, things would move back. En Vogue was popping. Hold On was out. MC Lyte was the leader. So it was just like, get in where you fit in. We did the Victory's Calling. We did the compilation over there. So it was a crazy ride, but you got in where you fit in, because all of us signed roughly at the same time, because that's when the genre was getting bigger and R&B was having a big presence as well as hip hop.
En Vogue, MC Lyte, and MICHIE MEE all on the same label at the exact same time.
Correct.
That's crazy, because I know on First Priority Records, you guys had put out a compilation album.
Yes.
And one of the first, I need you to finish this line for me, okay? People, here I am, and here I am, people.
Not trying to be conceited, but there's no one equal.
Bam. How did you come up with that? Because that was one of the songs that was actually on the compilation there.
Yeah, that was sitting with King Lou, and we were just rhyming off, and that was like the punchline. It had to start like that. It was a great intro, because we're like, what are we going to say? Yeah. We want to say that. So that's where it started, and the rest was just freestyle. Yeah. Yeah, there was no, just whoever's in the room.
They're
time
doing
to make
it from
songs. Yeah.
That's crazy. So at this time, you're signed, you're there. Were you actually staying in the States, or were you between the States and Canada at this time?
I love New York. I would sneak away like I sneak to Jamaica.
Yeah.
I love New York. So, and I would always be in Jersey. Oh, and then I met MC Peaches, which is another label mate. They said to go to Peaches' house. I never left. We're still besties up to this day. And she just lost her mother, so RIP, and my condolences to the entire family. It's still kind of fresh. Yeah. So, and we went on a boat cruise and everything, Bahamas. I had senior skin. We were preparing, we're going to go there, and had this whole moment last summer, and then COVID. Yeah. And then, so. Peaches, Hank, I love you. I went to MC Peaches' house, and I would always be in New York. That would be my safe haven. Mom always cooked, introduced me to grits. I was like, what's this? Grits and eggs. And I would make, say, I like plantain. Are we going to eat the banana?
What is that?
So it was all those moments that I enjoyed growing up on Smith Street in Newark, East Orange. And and then I still go back now in Rahway and New Jersey. So I'm very much a New York, New Jersey girl. I think I should have some stakes in the share in Lincoln Tunnel, because I take it so much. I know when the price raises, oh my God, it's sickening. But it's a little Toronto thing. I love New York, so I would always go there. So whether anything changed in the music scene, I was always still very versed in music, because my friends elevated quicker than my friends here in Canada. And the scene was growing, and I was like, one friend became a million, and they became farther and further away. And I seen the entire scene grow. I seen people rebel from jobs. I seen people, you know, go platinum, get budgets. Everybody ended up at the tunnel, you know, so it went from Latin Quarters to tunnel, like just, you know, for a tourist perspective, those are the things that we gravitated to. Is like, what's the next big thing 5 to 10 years later? What are the kids into? And, you know, we're all trying to be like 40 is the next what? Yeah, 30 is the, we were here, what? Yeah, so we would find our place there. So New York has been a very active in my lifestyle.
All right. So when you signed and I guess you stayed there for a while, then you came back. And were you working on the album in the States or in Canada? Or
in the
both?
States.
In the States.
Yeah, in the States. It was, we were there and we were taking pictures, photo shoots. We did the promo. LA Love came back, so because I was always there.
Yeah.
Let Mishi do the work.
Yeah.
And I would just stay, and anytime there was an opportunity to go to an industry party, industry parties was the thing to go to. So I'm like, get me on the list. Mishi's here. Get me on the list. And Peaches, Erica, she knew everybody, so she would just make calls. Even if she couldn't make it, I could make it. I would go to someone's house in Brooklyn. What's up to SWAT? SWAT, she used to dance. It was just, wherever it was, I would like to be there and consider it promo. And I was a part of the promo.
Yeah.
Promo parties.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because again, you're talking about Latin Quarters, the tunnels and all that. This is more hardcore hip hop clubs.
Yeah.
I remember watching some Dancehall VHS back then and seeing you front and center.
And did I say MC Peaches? Right beside me was MC Peaches. Eric and I had snuck out with some people.
Yeah.
Friends of mine. We left out of there. Well, actually, we ended up standing against the wall. But I think shots fired at the end of the night. It was a Biltmore Ballroom style of exit. Way in the morning, though. The dance was nice.
Yeah.
The dance was so good and nice. There's like how many videos of it. But at the very, very end, in the morning, there was an exit.
You were in some of the most legendary places in New York at that time. Biltmore Ballroom, the Tunnel, Latin Quarters, everything that people talk about to this day.
I know, didn't even know. Yes.
But you were just there to experience it. It wasn't anything.
Yeah, it was where the heavy hitters were. So, and coming from Canada, I always wanted to be around, the most known, the popular. You gravitate to the it. And all of them went to the same places, just like here. If there's something's really, like, if Atlantis is going on, we all know Atlantis is going, you know what I mean? But that's how it was. And and my friends made it. Like, it was just, they were just doing things. If they couldn't go, I would get the call. They'd make the call. So that was the cool thing. And then I would look extra cool, too, because my friends from Canada be like, we're all going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, so you're doing your album and everything. This is, what's the name of the album again that you guys recorded?
Jamaican Funk.
Canadian style.
We did the first single was just straight Jamaican Funk with the Jaybird, the sample.
Yeah, because what you were doing back then, it's like you were rapping, and then halfway in the song, you give them a dancehall style, and then go back to rapping again. You understand?
And back then, we're just like, that's my identity. Yeah. It's my identity. That was it. It was just like, this is going to make me different. Yeah, to have the accent. Yes, and they're like, Canadians, they don't speak like British, but the Jamaican her sounds kind of, and they said it even back then, but it wasn't so heavy. It wasn't so heavy, but the Jamaican, stood out.
Yeah. Crazy. That video now, where did you guys record the video? Here. Yes. All right. You remember recording that video?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Came. I think the entire scene, it was like a party in the daytime.
Yeah.
I was seeing it. It was like, it was the first date party.
Clearly.
It was a date party on camera. Yeah. And it was all ages because you could bring the kids. And we went to Falstaff and borrowed my friend's sister, Carol's truck, and we put the kids in there, and we just had a party with them, and all those kids are big now. So funny when I see them on social media. But we just had at Michie Dean's Michie Dean's Patties, delivered our patties, and that was a big deal. Oh my God, Jamaican Funk, we got patties for everyone. And then Sylvia Rome was there, and that was a big deal because I was very proud to say that the label's here. Yeah. And we had designed our own suits. We did our own hair, did our own clothes. And that was, the dance hall thing to do. And Sidekick Crew was just doing our own thing. We had no choice. Princess was the dressmaker. So when we had Jamaican Funk, Allison did the hair. So we all went and sewed pieces in and crimp, color, cut out diamonds and sprayed in the diamonds, the color to have the color pattern. I think everyone in the scene was very creative then, but we used to have, that twist.
Yeah. Crazy, because I remember when that video actually came out. I think it was 1990 or 91.
Yeah, it was done early. Yeah. A lot of stuff was done earlier, but we waited so long. So it seems like a 1991 release. We were signed so much earlier.
How come you guys waited so much longer?
So many black girls on the radio. On the black girls. There was just, it's just probably timing. The infrastructure was new. Canada, that we were the first.
Yeah.
There was, send them here. We did here. So there was you just sat and wait. And we're very grateful that the world, when it happens, will get to know your name.
Yeah. I remember back then too, especially when you seen that video come on, MuchMusic, it was like you were uber excited back then to see this, like, hey, she's on MuchMusic. You understand?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Me too. I was just as happy as everyone consuming it. Very happy. Because that meant like you made it here.
Yeah.
You made it. You were on MuchMusic? Yeah. They really developed me. And we were giving street credibility in terms of hip-hop is cool. You're like the MTV here. We're going to make it down. And we've got this stuff here. You're going to represent what we're about. And I would bring all my friends.
Yeah.
So it was really the meeting place too downtown for people that wanted to be in business of music.
Makes sense. And what did that album actually do for your career at that time there?
Oh, it was great. It introduced me to the world and across Canada. It let people know who I was as an artist. It let me stay who I was as an artist. It really was a great introduction. I didn't have to change anything. No one could tell me take out the weave. No one could tell me change hair color. No one could tell me don't wear the ruffles. No one could tell me. I mean, they tried. It's like, that's dancehall. I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
And be like, but you rap? Yeah. So it was like, she looks dancehall, but she's rapping, and nothing has changed. And one side is reggae and one side is hip hop. And we kind of kept the same thing. I haven't changed. They did. The industry did. I ain't changed. You did. That's what I always say.
Because I remember a lot of times you would see you in the dancehall parties, but you turn on your TV and see you on TV rapping.
And then when I started to do rock, man, I'd be like, oh my God, she got drugs. She got dogs. Rock and roll. Rocking. I was like, yeah, man, no, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. First it was like, love God, Michelle, I dance on the floor. And then it became, so it was, seeing me grow up in different ways. I'm sure my family had jokes.
Talking about that, when you told your mom or even your family, say, hey, I want to be a rapper, and remember, most likely they have no clue what this is. All right. What was her response or their response at that time there?
Oh, gosh, like any God-fearing mother, stop. Stop. Get a job. Get something to fall back on. You didn't even get So the speeches came out. Anything West Indian parents say, no matter where you're from. Once you migrated here, whatever came with the migration speech in any accent, it was like, how dare you divert from that?
Yeah.
And I speak about it in stuff like, you don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer, and those are the things that they wanted me to be. So it's like, you're not following where we're all, pharmaceutical nurses, doctors, pharmacists, what's going on, legal, you're not going to get into law. I know I'm writing songs and raps and they rhyme at the end, and it's so time consuming, and it's same 24 hours in the day. How is this going to make you a living? So there's always that worry. And then I kept doing it.
And kept doing it and kept doing it
and kept doing it and doing it and dropping albums.
All right. Got you. A couple more stuff I want to go through the history before we bring you right up to date right now. Okay. 91, everything comes out. You're touring across Canada. Do you tour across the States also, or anywhere outside of the States?
Just pockets and promo tours, like wherever MC Lyte went, and I got an opportunity to get on the bus and kind of go with her and the crew. I was there. Audio 2, anywhere they went, I was there. So, and I was still getting over Scott LaRock dying. So it was...
Yes, that's what we want to talk about too. You know what I mean? because he died in 89?
Mm-hmm. You would know that. Right now, I'm black. When I hear it, I just black. I go like,
yeah. Because I understand, because that would be, especially for somebody so young, that's a real traumatic experience, because this is somebody you met before everybody really blew up and the scene blew up, and then Scott just went and passed, especially so tragically. You understand?
I remember the calls were like, Mishi, sit down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott LaRock and KRS.
I always say things would have been different. He was my Puff Daddy, my Dr. Dre. He was going to get that deal with Russell. He was going to, I believe my whole life would have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
if Scott was still here.
Yeah. So it hit. And I understood that. I say this now, but I understood that then. So that's why it would really hit home.
Yeah, no, that was, especially for hip hop at that time where it's being so young, that was almost unheard of. I don't think anybody had really died or got murdered or anything in hip hop pre Scott LaRock that I could remember off the top of my head.
With a degree, working at a center, working, educated man in the business of music. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
and that record was one of the last records he produced before he died.
Which record was that?
At the same Elements of Style.
He produced it. Wow. And again, when you're going through all of this is still so early that you probably don't even know what you guys are doing. We're just trying to get our voice heard. That's different, Mish. You know what I mean? Wow. Okay. So you come back, you're doing your stuff here. What I noticed too was MICHIE MEE wasn't just MICHIE MEE alone. It's like you had a whole ensemble. MICHIE MEE LA Love, you had dancers, and you had Dream Warriors too. Were Dream Warriors your hype man? They were a group together. What was the situation with Dream Warriors at that time there?
King Lou, he was always a Dream Warrior. He was always from the Multiverse. So he's just Louis. And then he became my hype man in terms of, we just want to get on the road. It's just like me going out with MC Lyte and them. And in turn, when they ended up going to Europe and blowing up, we ended up getting to go with them as LA Love. And I went with them. And we opened for Gangstar. So it was just kind of like, that's how hip hop was growing. However, the industry can connect the artists. We happen to be the artists that could actually go and represent Canadian hip-hop. So King Lou was the hype man, and one of the best hype men, too. He knows all my songs. I know some of his. Yeah. And, and he's, and then the Dream Warriors and LA Love.
So were Dream Warriors designed to be a rap group, or they just happened to break out after the fact? How did that even come around?
Yeah, but when I laughed, because when you say rap group, it was like, yeah, they were so different. But yeah, they were designed to be a rap group. Like Dream Warriors, it was just easier to kind of introduce us to the industry. And they had a demo all the time. I introduced them to Ivan Berry, brought his demo, and the rest is history. Yeah. I mean, there's no signer's fee back then, but but it was, you just brought all your friends that were into music to the right people, and I really knew a lot of people, so connecting the dots. And Beat Factory was established, and they were doing a lot of R&B stuff with Traffic Jam and Rupert Gale, and LA Love is Rupert Gale's brother, so it made it easier. It was like, what does everyone in the family like to do? And kind of just put our friends and everybody together. And I had met through K-Force. So yeah, it was just, and we all used to hang out at the Bamboo, and they used to do R&B shows, and we'd be at the Bamboo just talking about, we're doing hip hop, and there was that, that funk and hip hop R&B. That was a showcase spot, and Orrin Isaacs ended up playing there. There was so much history in terms of the grassrooting of Canadian hip hop artists, and then the groups and the names of the bands and stuff. Then the deals came after. Yeah,
great. At First Priority Records now, how many albums did you actually record with them?
One.
It was the one you recorded?
Yeah, we started many after, but there was so much off went whoever and whatever, and it was like, go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is where you went more into dancehall now when you came back to Canada. This is where you're really in the dancehall scene with the infamous Sidekick Crew.
Yes.
All right. At this point here, were you guys all still together, Dream Warriors, LA Love, or everybody had broken up at that time there?
It's one scene. Everyone keeps their jobs. It's so Toronto. It's like we're still, you work here, you work here, you work there. The music, you either show up at the studio, at the interview, or you don't. You know what I mean? So we're all very focused on trying to make a living and just trying to do music where we can, that it would be something that we could live off of. So I think, the music became the music, and we became who we were naturally, because you had to still be, like, with or without the music, I was kind of popular in the scene. So that just made the music a little easier, whether I was doing either basketball, track and field. There was little elements and pockets that I would meet other students at other big, going to OFSAW. I would meet a lot of people from Scarborough. That's where I met a lot of them, was track meet. It was a big thing to go to Lamoureux or to go to Birchmount and see everybody and meet everybody, and then to see them all, the music they liked. So that was, anywhere that we could all get together, we were still people. So yeah, everybody lived their lives and then did their artistry, but never really put it down. Because I'm sure DreamWorks has an album somewhere now. We never put it down, so there was no one before the other. I think everyone kind of kept going, but whatever happened when the labels invested happened at the time.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. With the Sidekick Crew here, how did you form this Sidekick Crew, and how come it was so... The Sidekick starts with a Sidekick. Yeah. The limited edition came out, and I had just gotten my advance. Yeah. And I wanted a limited edition black and gold truck. Yeah. And I got a Sidekick. Had boyfriend with some money. He was like, "Get what you want," and I did. And came home, all my homegirls and from high school, the crew, Allison, Karen, Judy, Kim. Oh my goodness, Norva goes on. There's so Veronica. If I forget somebody, no, and Gail, geez, Nadine. I'm not gonna forget every Melba. There's so many of us, but there's and people have come and gone, and we were just all. It was like a sistership, but the common denominator was dancehall, like straight dancehall. We all had so many things in common. Still, all different people had the men of it. We're going to dress up on this day because this occasion's coming. We're all going to wear one color, and we're all going to do it in a different style. And everybody had their own little, popularity in their own way, their own swag. And we just like hanging out and going out together, just like girls and sisters now. But back then we were like, nah, we're in. It was like this private word, we're in. We were not going out. And and we still keep in touch. I think me and Sophie and Gail and Nadine were the most keeping in touch, bothering each other. Yeah. Sidekick Crew. Yeah, because I guess at this time here you went more full dance. Were you still recording when you were in Sidekick, or you were in between at this phase here?
They were. Everybody had to hear my raps. In the car, you get in my truck, you hear my raps.
My car, my rules.
My raps, my instrumentals, my playing. I want to play En Vogue again. Nope, play Jay-Z. Yeah. Play Jay-Z. So no matter what, you get in my car, you had, So I was always, and dancehall, you have everything. Oh my God, Shabba, we play, blah, 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 blah. So we love music. We love, and they were very hip hop too, as much as the dancehall. We were all very hip hop too. So it was very easy for us to hang out. We'd play music to go get the material, to get the clothes, to go to the dance hall. It was all one big thread of people who consume music.
All right.
And like to party.
You know what? You're right, because that was the biggest thing in Toronto at one time. And even I think you guys went to the States a couple of times too as Sidekick Crew.
We were, of course. Yeah, we would do so. It was the in thing to do. Bad and Ready was kicking from New York. So we were like, oh my God, Angela Stryker's crew. I was like, the old crew. Like, it was so much things. So it was just like, yo, we're the Canadian, Yeah, so it was dancehall, so, and there was so much reggae music in Canada. When the dancehall became popular, Toronto was a place to go.
For sure.
If you were, coming from the island, Jamaica, and you wanted to just bust in the scene, you went to New York when you came to Toronto. Just like hip-hop went from New York to Toronto before we heard more about the down south and Midwest. Toronto is always a place that you either go through the Commonwealth, make it part of your trip, or you make it part of your North American route as a big city.
Yeah. Makes sense, because I know when it comes to this industry called entertainment, you've wore a lot of hats. I've seen you, the funny thing with it, I've seen you as a videographer for MuchMusic.
I'm a camera woman. I like it.
How did that come around? Out of all things, because you're coming from in front of the camera
Yeah, Denise
How did you go
Donlin.
behind?
Big boss.
Yeah.
Big boss. Denise Donlin, MuchMusic. I would put on my outfit and I'd still like to dress up in Ray Ray Ray. She'd call me Mishi Spice with the camera because Spice Girls was so big on MuchMusic. And here I am dressed up like one with the camera. So she believed in me, and I was trained by Tony, not Tony, his cousin.
Oh.
The other Young.
Yeah.
Basil
Yes.
Young. 20 Young and Basil.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I always see. So, yeah. So, Basil trained me. Joel Avery, who, like, edits everything on CTO. Every time I see his name in the credits, I would paper cut and he would train me. We'd sit late. So, I wanted to learn behind the scene just in case. So, and camera. I love camera. I still walk with a Rebel T.
Yeah.
I'm slowing down on the editing, though. I'm going to get a new editing bay. But it still is one of my, and I like pictures. Like, I go nuts on Facebook on pictures if you catch me every now and then. Yeah, because I like to tell the stories with stills and shots. So, yeah, MuchMusic believed in me, and Moses trusted me with that big camera. It's
Crazy. And the thing with it, you're an artist, so you're generally in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So then now be behind the camera, that's another skill
Yes.
altogether.
Lyte took it to another level because MC Lyte is directing now. So everybody gets the bug. You just grow into whatever you think. So I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
And everybody that's still alive doing whatever, I'm just super proud of.
Yeah.
And doing what they want to do is things. So yeah, I'm more behind the camera, and I like to tell stories. Whether it's on this mic rapping or visually, I like being behind that much. As in terms of the rest of the scene, not so much.
Yeah.
I'm still
Storyteller.
a bit creative, a bit creative.
That's always been a part of you, hasn't it been?
Yeah. It's what keeps me going more. The other stuff will, carry you through all this other moments of frustration.
Yeah.
So the creative side really keeps you kind of free.
Makes sense. Another thing I know you got into, and you were doing a lot of it also, was acting.
Yes.
All right. One of the first movies that I actually seen you in was Into Deep.
Yeah.
With LL Cool J and Omar Epps. Pam Grier was in it. There was a lot of people in it.
Yes.
How did that come around?
Veronica, well, I went as a reader. They were hiring readers with American accents. I could speak American.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to put me in American set. And then I go see LL. Mishi, what are you doing here? I'm working at my job in Canada.
Yeah.
You are the star here. Don't wait. Because I always opened up for LL Cool J, whether he came here. And so it was just like, Mishi. And then he would put me in, gave me all my FUBU jacket. All of us got FUBU, gave FUBU. Me and Veronica Webb, he made me the godmother gave me one line, my name, in that. But it was like, nah, she sits over here because he felt, you're a reader, but you're not accent. Now you come with us. So they made me, if you're a reader here, you kind of leave the stars and they go. He put me in the limo. We drove around in the limo in Toronto to get in the zone. Gave me my FUBU jacket. I got to share a trailer, I think, with somebody. Like, he really made me. So shouts out to LL Cool J. Yeah, he made me. He reminded people here, and I remember one of the execs came to me and said, "How do you know all these people?" I was like,
"You don't know who I am." Yeah.
And then by the end, they kind of left me alone on set. But like, okay, she's part of the cast. Yeah, so shouts out to LL.
Into the big.
Yeah.
Another classic that I seen you in was when we're on TV. Drop the Beat.
Yeah.
All right. Crazy.
One of my favorite jobs.
How did that come around?
Well, we were sitting at CKLN. It was very hard to play a lead, but because it was so close to what I was doing already, and the storyline is so CKLN, it's so CHRY, it's so anywhere that's radio, underground radio, not underground, college radio.
Yeah.
It's that route. So being the female there, and then I got to do all the hip hop and be the artist. It came about, they were doing a mass audition for everybody, so a lot of people auditioned. Initially, I believe they even wanted DJ starting from scratch to be the main guy, and Shaman got it. There was just so many people that they had a vision of what the scene is. And this was one of the best ways that they could have brought it to light, because we made sure that the entire hip hop scene got a cameo. So if you look at the entire scene, I wish it would come back. You got to see everybody in their youth days making some of their TV debuts right here on the CBC, and it was so cool because CBC took a risk in hip hop. And that was a big moment for me, just personally. And I was like, and then to be a part of it, and then to, play lead, that was my first lead. Yeah, and you think you're rich. and then and then you shop. Yeah.
Well, welcome,
yes.
welcome to Canada.
Yeah.
You know
so,
what I mean?
yeah, CBC really that when they took that risk,
Yeah.
that was a big deal for me because that's one of the main things that keeps me going in the acting world.
Yeah.
Not everything lasts forever and so forth, but Drop the Beat was such a staple. So yeah.
How long was Drop the Beat on for?
We had 2 seasons. If you go 2, you're happy.
Yeah.
2 seasons,
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, we were so close to 3. We're like, yeah. I just remember my character being shipped off to Europe for tour. I was like, oh man, that's that part. That's that part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I knew it wasn't coming back. I mean, you're
It was a good while.
Divine is the character. She's still on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the plan. Thanks, COVID.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Even now, because another hat, because you worn so many hats in this industry, and I think we jumped a step. You were actually into radio, and that's what got you into acting.
Yes. Can you remind me, please? Because there's so much going on. You had me jumping from A to AJ. Radio for Red Rice and DJX and with Gemini, and they were like, Gem wants to do something else. Why don't you come? I want you to. And I sat there and I kept going back every Saturday for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did we get here? How did 4, almost 5 get? And it was a part of me growing up. It was my therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love radio. And that was, so to include that in the part, that's what made Drop the Beat lead a lot easier.
That's so crazy. Again, as I said, camera woman, actress, radio presenter, MC. What haven't you done in the business that you still want to try out right now?
Well, I'm doing it because COVID is, I keep talking about it. This pandemic, this whole whatever's giving me some time, all of us some time. So the writing, I'm negotiating a book deal right now, and it feels good to actually tell some stories and putting together producing. So producing a film and documentary, being in the back and being able to use all my resources and find how I could come up with a creative product, as well as learn more about branding. And I would like to direct too, as well as just play lead more. I really think I like learning from other people's words instead of me putting it out. Being able to make that transition in acting, because that is the difference. It's a whole team of people working and getting directed and getting a role that really brings substance and shows the growth from, on my Queen Latifah, showing some growth from this side with a little Caribbean, you know what I mean? I want them to see the Caribbean girl grow up and be introduced in a role. So that's something that I haven't really seen yet. So that's something like that. That's
it. It makes total sense.
Rule the world.
Yeah, just something like it makes total sense because
simple stuff.
Yeah, and all of this, because I think at one time when you were doing radio, you were acting and all this, you weren't really putting out a lot of music, but then you got back to the music.
Yes.
One of your big premiere songs that had came out was "I Don't Want to Be a Slave."
Yes.
All right. How did that come around? Let's talk about that. That's a gigantic song.
It came from first of all, it was an old Rolling Stones song. So I was hanging out with Estero and Jellystone. We were downtown and we're like, let's run up to Sony Studio, and we met up with John Levine from Philosopher King and Mr. McDonald on guitar, and we went and they just started playing away the song, and I wrote do it, and I didn't want to sing it, and she sang it, but I wrote it. And then we went off, and then Jelly started with his pen and his magic, and off we went, and the song became its own thing. So recorded it, started at Sony Studios, a pre-production studio, just hanging out, being blessed to have the access to go in and create. Yeah. And then, and off I went to Metalworks and started making another album because that song just did so much magic for all of us. Yeah. And
this song you were seasoned already. You were probably at least 15 years into your career at this time here.
Yes. I was, it was really nice. It was a good experience. And then seeing the part it played in, even when Flow 93.5 came on, it was the second song played after Bob Marley. When they introduced, I was on the Milestone board. I was the artist on the board with Mr. Denham Jolly and the crew, and Ivan hooked me up. And so we were demonstrating that the artists here, whatever. So seeing it placed in places, that's my little hang on to. So, and it works every time I do it in hip hop, reggae, wherever. Yes, Canadians love gravitate to them. But like, that's our here, made here, there. Yeah. So it worked out well for me.
Big. Okay, so then now, down your musical journey, when did Ragadeth actually come into the fold now?
Ragadeth is, my goodness, going to school of makeup art because another side job. I wanted to be a makeup artist. So I went to school of makeup art because nobody was doing my makeup the way that I wanted to do my makeup. And I had gotten a student grant. That's where my student loan is, right, Osa? So I got my student loan in being a makeup artist at the School of Makeup Art in Girard. And they were recording down at Ontario, down at Wellesley Studio. And they were like having all these guys come in and they were saying, we want a voice we want rap on this, but we don't know if girl or boy at the time. So all the guys, of course, when I make it a girl or boy thing, it's deep. Because everyone was saying, nah, it's going to sound this girl. And then I got the call. Walter called me in, and I went, and I never left. I'm cutting it short. Yeah, and then we had a bunch of MCs, so it wasn't just about me, but I had to earn my position to be there because Friendly Man was a part of it. Everybody was a part of it. We had a couple artists that went off into La La Land. I just don't want to talk about it. But yeah, so it was mostly, the root of it was myself, Walter, and Steve Kendall. Yeah. Yes. And Palmy, rest in peace.
It wasn't... How did you feel going from
Mr. Raven,
hip hop and reggae to hardcore rock now?
There's no other way. Because, yeah, the root, the metal, the root of it is very dynamic. I think if Rastafarians and reggae was to do something else, like it would be hardcore, it'd be punk, it'd be rock, and they let me be me. And I think that was the main thing. If you don't and I didn't do anything different there than I didn't do with when I was doing the hip hop records. I got to do the reggae and I got to rap. And I got to write. Other than that, leave me alone. And then I got to perform the mic, and I love live instruments. When they introduced me to the band aspect of it, because I performed with them as my first band experience. It wasn't a reggae band. It wasn't a hip-hop band. My big band touring experience was with a rock band. Yeah. So when I got to see that, and I was like, ooh, mosh pit, wait a minute.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was like, it looked good. And then, so... You know, I rather parachuting the girl than the bit. But it was so fun, the experience. The going on tour with Biff Naked and SNFU, main punk pop invitational tour across Canada, getting someone to invest in that tour, huge turnout. Ragadeth went on and we did 3 albums. So I got to be, 3 albums deep with them. And they got international distribution. So the fact that and it still leads and it introduced me to a whole other marketplace that I'm comfortable in putting a rock song on my new album.
We're getting there. We're about to get there.
Yeah, it was really, it was no rush. No, it was just really a good experience because I got to do more records in big studios. I only got to do the big studio record with my stuff in the U.S., so all my other ones are just studio hopping. And I stayed after that with my engineer, Darius, from Phase 1 of Metalworks. And because they spoilt me. So I'm used to big rooms now. Yeah, so even when I'm doing indie, it's like I still got to get a big room, so I'm all up in Phase 1.
Because that's where you feel comfortable.
Yeah, and big room.
Yeah, it's all good. You've been in this business now for 35 years, all right? What is your weapon of choice? The pen or the microphone?
Oh, the mic. The pen, because the pen sometimes wasn't in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just, you know what I mean? So, and it depends because people are so different with it. But the mic, if the mic is on, it's just, we just deleted just one of the process. We sped it up. So I would, they say the pen is mightier, but I know what I would say the mic. Yeah. And the pen, because if I'm writing, yes, oh my goodness, let me put it in context. Because I'm sure the pen is mighty because I'm into writing and often I'm looking at it that way. Yes, you can get out more. But I do think if you have the straight, non-edited microphone, it's just mightier to me. Like when I seen the world change to content and access to, you can say anything now anywhere, but like back in the day, you wouldn't want this because it's so powerful. So that's why I've transitioned to say, I used to be all about the pen and I still am, but the microphone's a pretty powerful thing because we see the mic on everything and and it's pretty powerful on any app.
You get it.
Any app.
You 100% get that. You've seen a lot in your career. Do you ever think that you would see Canada where it is right now in the musical space?
Absolutely. And I'm going to say that proud and confident, because when we started, there was no machine. So I'm not from the numbers, if you get, you're popular because you have all the grants, you're the best. I'm not from that world. Yeah. So things are like when you have to do things by Friday and Saturday, like it's different for me. So no, of course we wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
We did it because we weren't proving to ourselves. The battles were coming here. Hip hop came here. Dancehall was here. Reggae was here. Yeah. We're not reinventing anything. It was here. We've been just trying to prove all these years
that we're here.
Yes. And I get one cute little brown boy would jump up on cute little brown and when name Drake can write and and do his thing. So we got it. And I say we because that's what we've been trying to say for a long time, and it takes money to get there. Yeah. It's not just get up and you're going to write a song and from Canada and they're going to put you on. It takes a lot of money to be invested in radio for you to get to that position. But you have to hold your own, because a lot of people get introduced to that position and don't go nowhere.
We've seen the market grow so much. You've done a lot of acting. You've done behind the scenes, front of the scenes. Now, we're in 2020. You know what happened now? Mishi decided to drop a brand new project.
Thank you.
What keeps you going and wanting to even still drop music after so long?
Well, definitely the assistance of grants kind of reinforces the confidence. I'm always writing. And music, it was just like, and I wanted to prove to them, and not them meaning the industry, meaning the people that consume hip hop, that there is no age thing when it comes to the fellas. So some of the ladies that have been doing it a long time are coming back out. And it's just like, we just want, and I'm in bodies of work, albums. So I really just wanted to force an album out. I'm going to put the other albums up. It's a new way of doing stuff. I wanted to put everything out in the digital world. Going to get Jamaican Funk, Canadian Style up there. Going to get First Cut as the Deepest up there. Okay. Everything. So I'm kind of reintroducing myself to a market. But there's some brothers I grew up with that were older than me, and nobody is telling them to stop. So I just wanted to represent for the ladies, because we're in like this jazz era of hip hop where our music is not going to die, because we take it the route, like, I'm very dancehall, and dancehall people don't sit down. They do other songs, they end up doing a cover, they end up changing things, they end up doing something else, find another producer, they do something else. So I'm one of them, but I'm coming in the hip-hop form of Mina Lego. So Bahdgyal's Revenge is my next statement.
Okay, and how many tracks is on this album there?
I lost count today. I just handed it. How much is there now? About 16?
Yeah. What I liked with it was it gave you the originals, then it gave you some remixes also. Yeah. You understand? It gave you interludes. It was like a real album, like you're really listening to an album.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It was really refreshing, and what it was mature Michie.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It work. That's why I will not stop. We need to think. Can you imagine if we seen Biggie and Pac right now mature?
Crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I just want the world to be able to see some hip hop mature, but the women mature too, guys. Not you, but I just want to be a part of telling that story and moving forward. And if I have to stand behind the West Indian culture in the way that dancehall does it, where we don't let go, I'm going to hide behind that, because that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Yeah. But hip hop is growing and maturing, so we need balance. Balance.
This album here, it has some features. It has Centuries on it, Lindo P's on it, Tanya P's on it. There's a couple more people on it. It's like, I like who you chose. You could have gone for
I know.
These guys over here, or these gals over here, but you still kept it contained and brought it fresh.
My friends, talent that I believed in, talent that's easy to work with and write with. Yeah. There was like half a phone call away. Yeah. Everyone, JDR is on it. Chuck D did the intro.
Yes, that's what got me there. That's what got me.
Download the album and you can see whatever. But everyone I called was like right then and there. Yeah. And across the board and border.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get better than that. So I didn't run down anything. I didn't want to. And I'm really just trying to put all the music together because some of it has been out. And like Bahdgyal Bubble, I had to put on an album because I had to get it up there. Big up Smoke Shop. Smoke Shop have a Spotify. Run here around with it. Love it. So I just had to get it in the body of work so people identify that with me. And that kind of stuff. And it was to tell a story, and it's the intro of a story. It's really, and it's Factor supported, Ontario Arts supported, Toronto Arts Council supported. So the fact that they even let me get a little, just add up, and it took time. I had a car accident, and I kind of sat back for a while and kind of healed, and they didn't have to continue supporting. And now I'm like, let's go. Yeah. And I still had my songs and stories that I want to tell, and it's really about growing up in hip hop.
Yeah. Crazy. I got two. Of course. Listen, we're not going to sit down and have you here and not listen. That wouldn't be cool. You understand? What if you said, hey, so you tell me what's your favorite song on the album?
So to say, hey, I catch you back. No, man, respect.
Crazy. And where could they cop this album?
Oh, it's all over the platforms. It's everywhere. I'm going to get over there and whatever. I didn't really rush to put it out because I was like, you know what? There's no big publicist behind it yet. But it's a body of work that's going to be heard. So I'm taking the slow way up and just going to spread the word and keep it going because there's a lot more where that came from. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to spreading the word of Bahdgyal's Revenge. There's going to be a new website up under construction, and it's on all platforms. And it's going to be, I'm going to have my CDs out. I'm going to have my vinyl out and all that good stuff. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get this one out because it felt very end of 2020 instead of 2020-21. What year is it? 2020, 2020, 2020, and keep going on. And it's 20 years, and it's being released on 11/20/20.
Wow. Big,
So I hope you get it moving forward.
Yeah. 2 questions before I get you out of here, because guess what? This is the part 1 of our conversation. You know we have to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right?
I'm excited. You can tell I got to go.
All right. This is thing there. As I said, 2 last questions. Well, it's really, it's 1, but you could answer it 2 different ways. 35 years in the career. When would you say personally you felt like this was the highest that you've gone in your career and you felt your best? And when was the lowest that you felt in your career?
I think those are days that come and go. I really don't think there's because there's been a lot of low days, and that's because that's how, in perspective is key. Depends what's low to me could be so like, shut up to someone else. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and people want you to suffer, and I suffer real good. It's like, I got some good suffering. Yeah. So I don't really, the low days is because I said it's low. I don't really think, when I look back, like, you dummy, there's no way but up. You were really upset over that, Mish? So I look at a lot of things like that, and I find my sense of humor real quick, because I'd be so mad. Yeah. So because there's so many. There's so many. Could get emotional and be like, I remember when I had my, I could get deep and be like, that time that, there's so many context I could put it in, but I just to keep it all neutral, it's really perspective is key. And I've had more good days than bad, but there's a lot of low days, especially if my life in my Canada depended on music business. So because my Canada is bigger than music business, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I love Canada. Yeah, so it's a really cool place to live when you travel and come back. Yeah. So that makes it all, no matter what's going on out there, a really good place to be. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. They want to check you out. Your album coming up and stuff. Leave some contacts where they could actually check you out. Oh, definitely. On Twitter, MICHIE MEE. And it's Michie Bahdgyal with a Y on Instagram, and MICHIE MEE on Facebook. And yeah, I got certified. Thank you. They certified it on my birthday. Big up Twitter and Facebook. I got it. Yeah, so those things excite me because I've been trying. Yeah. So I guess I've got to work it now. Yeah. Gotta use this posting. Hey. Yeah, but now I have content and I have something to say, and I've got more coming out. Yeah. More work coming out in terms of content and the book and other things that I'm working on. Everything takes time, but this is the time if you really want to do something, dig deep right now. Yeah, so it's a good time, and it feels good just letting the album go. Yeah. Now I just got to post. Yeah. No, don't worry. This is what we're here. This is what we're here for. You understand, Mish? And I'm so grateful that you stood by me all this time. It's all good. And I wanted to come here and speak to you first. I think you know me. Yeah. And it's just nice to to go back and forth and hear and just see what you're doing. Okay, back to you. I'm just so proud of you. Proud of you, your wife, your family. Just proud of you. So, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Thank
man.
You. We're all coming from a long time. You know what I mean? That's why when you came in, I said, look up there. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's me.
That's from 2006.
In my last week.
You know what? Man. I know you gotta go. I know you gotta go. But can I squeeze in something quick?
Oh man.
Quick. Locks journey. Why do you decided to locks?
Oh my God. First I want to go on the beach and not worry about my hair.
Yeah.
That's just the girl in me. It was just awakening that once you know the truth, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back. So there was a lot. I mean, I still have habits. I still add when No, I can't. The full. I mean, I'm supposed to do it in the shoot. It's really a thing to me. So I mean, I don't want to offend nobody, right? But the locks journey was internal, and it was, and I wanted, and I do, and I just know myself, and it's more about learning who you are as a Black person. I'm really maroon, so my journey is very maroon, and then it gets into, and it's all one. It's Africa, and it's living in Canada, which I'm very proud of. So whatever it is, just like my music is all over I just like truth, and I've learned it all. I read the Quran. I've dated 5%ers, Muslims, Rastafarians, you name it. Okay? Everything. I've got the books or whatever. I take bits and pieces of what I want, and I am me. And it's part of my journey. But couldn't take the cat no more. Yeah. Couldn't take it. So, but that's, did what I wanted to do.
Mish, I'm going to end this right here. But as I said, I have 7,000 more questions for you. 7,000,
And I got more records. So.
All right. We'll be talking. As I said, it took about 2 years to make this happen. I don't care if I got to wait another 2 years to make it happen again.
No, man, I'll come back before that. I'm up now. I'm certified.
Wow. You understand. Listen, let me give you an outro and get you out of here. It's been an amazing conversation, my sister.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. Bam. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinemusichut.com.